I don't know how long ago because I've lost track of time, but when we were in, was it Sarasota? Sarasota last, we met Lily. I don't know if any of you remember meeting Lily in Sarasota. And she's here again, so I know we've done this story, but we can never do your story enough, can we, Lily? She's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. And tell us, remind everybody the story of Lily.
Sure. So when I was pregnant, my midwife told me that we needed to get the flu shot to protect her because newborns can't have the flu shot. So what you do is everybody around the baby gets the flu shot, so it protects them. And I'd never got the flu shot in my life, and neither has my husband, but we thought, we have to do it to protect her, so we did it. He didn't want to, and I told him he had to. So we got the flu shot. He got really sick, and we didn't even think that it had anything to do with the shot, and I was fine. She came on her due date, completely, everything was normal and healthy, and then we noticed that when she cried, only half of her face would scrunch up, and the other side was completely flat. And she couldn't, I was going to be this breastfeeding champion. I took classes, and she wouldn't latch, so that was really hard. So I was pumping, and I was giving her drops, like 2 cc's at a time of breast milk like a baby bird, and so, we didn't know that wasn't normal, but we knew, we didn't think it was something crazy, but we knew it wasn't normal. And then the nurse one day said, I'm just going to take her for a few minutes out of the room. And then she came back and said she has to go to the NICU. And we were like, why? And she's like, well, I'm sure you've noticed that her, her face, only one side really moves and one of her eyes kind of wandered, so we don't know what's wrong. So she went to the NICU, and nobody knew what was wrong with her. She was there for a few days. We transferred to the Children's Hospital, and eventually they said she had Moebius Syndrome, which is an extremely rare neurological disorder. There's no known cause. You can Google it. So since we talked last in Sarasota, I've done a lot more research and found this doctor who actually mentions Moebius Syndrome, and he talks about how vaccines cause mini strokes in the fetus. So Moebius Syndrome is caused by a drop in blood pressure in the mother, so lack of blood flow to the brain in the baby, which cause her cranial nerves not to develop, specific ones, which is what Moebius Syndrome is. So there's no doubt in my mind that the flu shot caused that. But it gets worse. So we continued to vaccinate because why wouldn't you? Our doctors told us. I remember specifically saying, is this safe? And they said, of course it's safe, and you need it. You have to do it. And I said, okay. So we did it. So we did our 2-month shots. We did our 4-month vaccines, and we started feeling like something wasn't right, but we didn't quite know. And when we brought it up to our doctor, they said, it's just the Moebius Syndrome. No, it's so rare. Nobody really knows how she's going to develop. So, they just kind of brushed it off, and so we just have to wait and see how she's going to develop.
Does she have seizures?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No. But she's 5, and she's teeny. You can see she's the size of a 2-year-old. She's like 27 pounds. She's not verbal. She's in diapers. She's not crawling or walking. She has a wheelchair, but it's easier to travel with the stroller. She stims. So I mentioned these concerns when she was, after her 4-month vaccines, which I think she got around 5 months. She started flapping her hands and stimming and just, not quite right. So we delayed her 6-month vaccines because we just didn't feel right. And then at 8 months, we thought, we have to go in. We can't just not take her to the doctor, right? So we took her back in, and she got 6 at once. And then that's when everything really changed. That's when we pretty much lost her. First of all, the doctor said, give her Tylenol, even if she doesn't have a fever after the vaccine. She said, just if she's fussy, sometimes kids get fussy, give her Tylenol to treat the fussiness, which I remember thinking sounded kind of weird. And also I remember thinking that she sounded so robotic when she was saying it, like she was just saying it for the millionth time. So we took her home. She was really sleepy, and then she started projectile vomiting. She had a fever, so we were giving her Tylenol sleep, Tylenol vomit. It was just this vicious cycle. So I called the doctor on the urgent care line like 3 times. Nobody called me back, and we thought, should we take her to the emergency room? And then we thought, no, we're just overreacting. They said that some kids get fevers. They said to expect it, if she gets sick. So we didn't take her to the ER, which now, after, all these years of research, we know wouldn't probably have done anything anyways.
Can she walk? No.
No, she can't.
So, I'm holding her head now.
She's just starting to weight bear, so she has a stander that we put her in every day, which gets her, because look how tiny her little feet are. If you don't weight bear, bones don't grow, so she's teeny tiny. But we put her in this stander. You lay her down, you strap her to it, and it's all, a lot of support, and then you put her vertically, and it gets her used to putting, weight on her feet. So now, just this past summer, if you put her feet down and hold her hand, she can plant her feet, and she's started to take steps.
And how old is she again?
She's turned 5 in July. So she's way behind.
Has anyone ever taken any responsibility for what happened to
No. So she had this reaction. I called the doctor. Finally, after 4 days of her being sick, her fever broke. The doctor called me back on Monday. I think her shots were like on a Thursday. She called me back on Monday and apologized, and she sounded really kind of nervous. Like, sorry, nobody got back to you. How's Lily? And I'm like, well, her fever's gone now. And I'm like, she's really tired. She's like, okay, she'll be fine. Sorry nobody called you back. And that's when she just left. It's like she would just stare at the wall. She would just stare for hours. Like she wouldn't track objects at all. We would take, toys and Christmas ornaments, things that light up, and put it in front of her face, and she was just vacant. So we knew it was the vaccines, but we didn't know anything about vaccines. So we knew instinctively, because look what just happened to our child. And then from there, we just dove into research. We refused to go to pediatricians ever again. I mean, she already had been seeing a chiropractor. We did craniosacral therapy, gluten-free, dairy-free diet. We just did everything we could think of to try and bring her back. And she did come back a little bit, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like maybe she's one of the non-responders. I'm not sure. So anyway, then we did genetic testing last year, and she has all of the gene mutations that autistic kids have. MTHFR, a bunch of them. So it's obvious to us that she should have never been vaccinated at all. I should have never gotten the flu shot. Who knows how maybe she would be like Ophelia, running around driving her mom crazy. We don't know. And people ask us if we're afraid to have more kids, are you afraid you're going to have another special needs kid? And that's not even a thought in our mind, because we know that it wasn't genetic. We know that it's because she was poisoned. So that's our story.
Well, so pull off it. Pan, see this? See what you're mandating? Taking this child's life away? I hope you're watching this. I hope everybody's watching this. Because Lily should have had a life. She should be running around as a 5-year-old. She should have a future ahead of her. And that's been taken away from her.
So the one thing that, we're not really pity party type people, but the one thing that really just breaks my heart and that we do cry about is who's gonna take care of her one day when we're gone. It's so stressful to think about,
Yeah, so I hope you're watching this. I hope you are. This is an example of vaccines destroy lives. Not just Lily's life, but her mother's life and everyone around. Lily should have a future like every other child deserves. Instead, this is what a vaccine has done. So, we'll take care of you, Lily.
We'll take care of you.
All right.
Thanks, Paul. So, a friend of mine wants me to sign the bus, and I want to tell her story if I can, and I'll be brief. I know you have a lot of people. But she had twins. They were preemies, and one of her twins had a heart defect, and she had to have open heart surgeries.
Always got something on my
so she had open heart surgery as an infant. So her children had their vaccines at different times because of the surgery. It's just she had like a delayed schedule. It's different. So her daughter has epilepsy, and she was totally normal. And she got 9. She sent me, because I told her I would come sign the bus for her. She sent me her shot records. She got 9. Her daughter got 9, including she got MMR and DTaP and flu, a couple other ones I can't remember. And she started having seizures, and I told her, I think it's the MMR, you need to look into this. And she was kind of like, no, it didn't happen right away. She didn't really look into it until much later. Her daughter was nearly deaf. and had seizures. Meanwhile, her sister, who had the heart surgery, totally normal. So, remember talking about the dumb things that doctors say? Her neurologist said, yeah, she has a genetic seizure disorder, but it's strange that her identical twin sister doesn't have it, because her sister didn't get 9 vaccines at once. So anyway, so she was nearly deaf, and she qualified for the cochlear implant, and they said for her to get it, she had to get, I think, the meningitis vaccine. It was mandatory, or they wouldn't do it. So she did it because her daughter couldn't hear. So now she will probably never be able to live on her own. I mean, she can walk and talk, but you can tell that there's some delays, and her sister, thank God she has a twin sister, will probably have to, be there for her throughout her life, and it's so sad. So that's her story, and she wants me to sign the bus. Her name is Reagan. I'm trying to find a picture. Here's some pictures.
Have we signed the bus for Lily?
No. Okay. No, I want to do that. So these are the twins. That's Grace, and you can tell she's a little smaller because she developed more slowly because of her heart defect. That's Alicia. There's Reagan. She's
likes my cross.
Here's her shot records. It's criminal. I don't know how anybody could even think for a second that it's safe, that it's okay to give 9 at once. It's sickening. So that's her story. So I want to sign the bus for Lily, and I want to sign the bus for Reagan.
We have to get Lily a cross. She loves my cross.
You like that.
We're going to get you a cross, okay, Lily? Yeah, you want one?
She loves you.
She's saying
What are you saying?
Oh, you're a beautiful girl. Should we go and sign the bus?
Let's do it.
You want to sign the bus? Yeah? Alright, let's do it. You're an amazing mama. You're waving bye-bye.
Bye. Say bye-bye.